الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا ثم أما بعد. If you were standing outside the masjid and someone comes in or leaves out, who should start with the salam? The one who is passing by or those who are standing? What if the one who was standing there out there was just only one person, and those who were coming in, walking in or walking out, there were two or three? So it doesn't matter how many, those who are walking should give the salam first, even if the one who's standing was only one. Are you sure?
We'll find out.
We'll find out right now. What if you were walking in the parking lot? If you're walking in the parking lot, and then someone was driving in or driving out, who should start with the salam? The one who's driving or the one who's walking?
He's faster.
Let's see what the answer from Hadith al-Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala يقول في رياض الصالحين قال باب آداب السلام. This is now the chapter on the etiquette of giving the salam. قال عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال يسلم الراكب على الماشي والماشي على القاعد والقليل على الكثير متفق عليه وفي رواية قال والصغير على الكبير. So here's the priority according to the sunnah of the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, how he classified that. قال صلى الله عليه وسلم, a rider should start the greeting, should basically salute and greet a pedestrian. The rider should greet the pedestrian. If you're riding, then you are the one who should start with the salam. That's number one. Then he said, a pedestrian should greet the one who's sitting, which is basically the stationary position, whether standing or sitting down. So that if you're walking, you should say salam to someone who is in a standing position or still position. And he said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and a small group should greet a larger group. So if you were two people passing by, 5 or 6, and you're both walking, two groups are walking here. They're passing by each other. Who should give the salam to the other one? A smaller group to the larger group. Then he said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in another narration, قال وَالصَّغِيرُ عَلَى الْكَبِيرِ, and the young should greet the elderly. And the young should greet the elderly. That's clear, Jama'ah? So what if we have mix and match? Let's say you have the smaller group is a group of youngsters, and the larger group, actually the smaller group is elderly, and the larger group is youngsters. Who should start with the salam?
Youngsters.
Even though they are larger in terms of number? Huh? Yeah, so the priorities, you still need to reconsider the priorities based on also age and status and so forth. Sometimes, yeah, you might see someone who's, let's say, an elderly, and he's supposed, in these scenarios, he's supposed to start the salam, but out of respect, you begin with the salam. You should go and begin with the salam. So keep sort these priorities based on the circumstances. But overall, the Prophet ﷺ, he gives the priority for the rider to give the greeting to the pedestrian over the person who's standing or sitting down, and then the large number, the small group should greet the larger group, and the youngsters should always greet the elderly. And I hope this is clear, inshallah. Any question, Jama'ah? Hold on. Very interesting. Yeah, very good question. How about phone calls? When you call someone, who should say the salam first? The caller, Jama'ah. I'm responding. How should I respond? When someone is calling you, you just turn the phone on right now. You just reply, answer. You answer the phone. How should you start answering the phone? Do you say assalamu alaikum, or you make a delay for 2-3 seconds to see someone saying salam? Or knock on the phone, somebody's there? Well, you see, it's okay to answer the phone and say a general word, such as na'am, yes. Mention your name if you want to. This is so and so. Whatever. Basically, you are allowed to begin with these statements. you don't have to start with the salam. And as a matter of fact, you shouldn't be starting with the salam, because the one who's calling is the one who should start with the salam. If the one who calls you doesn't start with the salam, let's say you said yes or you said hello, and he goes, hey, how are you doing? What do you say now? That's when you say salam alaikum first.
You go with alaikum salam.
No, you go salam alaikum first. You go with salam alaikum first. So eventually, once the person does not start with the salam, that's when you remind them. That's when you say assalamu alaikum. So if someone calls you, don't start saying salam alaikum. Well, I know it's you because it comes on my ID. Even if you know who the person is that was calling you, you still need to say hello, na'am, whatever you use in your language. And then when the person speaks to you, they say salam, you respond wa alaikum salam, and then you come to conversation. If they don't say salam, you remind them by saying salam alaikum first. Because the one who starts with the salam is basically the one who usually seeking permission, is the one who is calling you. Wallah. Yes.
When the answer comes, the caller is also initiates
If you just basically someone answers the phone saying salam alaikum, to say wa alaikum salam. Khalas. Yeah, that's fine. Nah. Go on.
Like a lot of the time we see like both of the brothers say salam alaikum salam.
At the same time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is it wajib for both of them to say wa alaikum salam?
It's a very good question. Let's say you both, mashallah, passing by each other, and spontaneously and simultaneously you both say salam alaikum to one another. So it all came out salam alaikum. Each one of you was trying to get the reward first for being the one who initiated the salam. You mentioned that together. Salam alaikum, at the same time. What do you do in this case? Do you respond to his salam? The answer is yes. Even though the salam came at the same time, you should also say wa alaikum salam to each other. Wallahu a'lam. No. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.
Other day I was in the Jumu'ah prayer.